Hello, this is Diana Ponce, and I will be presenting to you my first grade classroom showcase.
In this slide, I show several things that will be found throughout the classroom. One of the first things is the classroom helper chart, and what this chart will do is it will tell me as well as the students what their job or their responsibility is for that week. Some of the jobs included in the chart are line leader, door holder, the teacher's assistant, calendar manager, and things of that sort. It is important for us to have the kids feel included in the classroom, and this chart or this activity helps us to integrate every single child as we will be rotating jobs throughout the entire school year. Next, I have the word wall, and in the word wall we will have different words, the words that the students will be learning throughout the year. And this word wall is also helpful for us for when the students are writing. A lot of words are not easy for the students to write. So when it is time for them to write, they can quickly glance at the word wall and they will be able to know how to spell the words correctly. Next is the work display area, and this will be a place in the classroom where the students' work will be displayed for everyone to see, and this display will include work from different subjects, be it math, language arts, reading, science, social studies. The goal here is to have students feel proud of the work they have created and also to admire the work that his or her peers have done.
The next section of the classroom is the classroom library, and from the classroom library the students will be able to check out books. This covers the TEKS reading and fluency, in which the students read grade level text with fluency and comprehension. Students are expected to read out loud grade level appropriate text with fluency, great accuracy, expression, and appropriate phrasing and comprehension. I will also try my very best to maintain, with the help of my students, this section of the classroom very organized, being in sectioning off books by sports, by ocean life, geographic novels, humor, autobiographies, science fiction. That way it'll be easier for my students to access the books that they are desiring to read.
Here is an example of a classroom schedule which mentions the different subjects throughout the day, the different activities. It includes the math, the social studies, language arts, the center time, science time. It also tells us exactly what time restroom breaks are and lunch. This is important for us to have an important visual for the students because they are able to see the progression of the day, and that way they know what's coming next. For example, in this chart, you see that lunch is from 11:40 to 12:30. So students know that after lunch they will have the language arts subject. Next to this visual is the classroom constitution, and I think this is very neat in comparison to the classroom role charts because this could be a beginning of the year activity for the entire classroom where they all collaborate using social skills. They would be able to discuss what makes for a good classroom, for a good learning environment, and the entire classroom will have their input on what they promise to do or how they promise to behave throughout the school year and towards one another and towards the teacher. So and again, instead of having a classroom rules chart, this is a good example of how the student can input their ideas and make it their very own personalized constitution for the classroom.
In this slide, I have an example of a carpet that I really like the way it's set up because it's arranged so that not one student is directly behind another, so there's no way that someone's blocking the view. I do believe that teachers should be at eye level with the students, so I would be sitting right at the purple spot, at the quarter of a circle purple spot, and delivering the lesson or reading them a book. Right next to that picture is a picture of a group table. I would use this table for my small groups while other students are working. So I would have to strategically place this table in a place in the classroom so that I can be working with these students, but at the same time being able to have sight of the rest of my kids who are working on their centers. I will be discussing 3 different centers in the classroom. The first center that I will be discussing is Math Buckets, which will be my math center. And at this center, I will have the students with a number of bins or buckets with different activities inside of them, which will be related to the objective that they will be learning. The bins will have activities in which they can work individually, as well as activities that require another friend or a partner. I will make sure I will make sure that the students have visuals around math centers, and that these visuals are also big enough for all students to see, even if they are not at math center. Things like a number chart, a number line, and even the written form of numbers. These are some examples of activities that can be found inside of the Math Buckets in the Math Center. The activity that I will be discussing in depth will be this activity with the techniques of identifying U.S. coins, including pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters by value, and describe the relationship among them. Also write a number with the cent symbol to describe the value of the coin, and to use relationships to count by 2s, 5s, and 10s to determine the value of a collection of pennies, nickels, and or dimes. The materials that the student will need is the quantity chart, pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, and this is an activity that they can do with a classmate. So for this activity, they will have to find a way to make for the amount that is described above. For example, if the quantity or the amount in cents is 11 cents, then a student might place a dime and a penny, and another student might place 2 nickels and a penny, or 11 pennies. So this way the students will be able to interact, they will blend in their social development, and be able to compare how their worksheets are different. These are some of the books that can be found in math centers. I wanted to make sure that I included books that not only appeal to the math subject, but also books at various levels for students. We will have students who may be advanced readers, as well as students who are struggling readers. So we want to make sure that we have books at various levels at our centers. The next center is the Reading Language Arts Center, and these are some of the books that I plan to have in the Reading Center. The activity for that, for those books, will be the retelling a story. The tics behind them are, for English, are to restate the main idea, heard or read, identify important facts or details in the text heard or read, retell the order of events in a text by referring to the words and or illustrations, and also the theater tics demonstrate safe use of movement and voice, create roles through imitation, dramatize simple stories, and dramatize poems and songs, as well as exploring diverse cultural and historical experiences through fables, myths, and or fairy tales in dramatic play. The materials for this activity are the books, the student, which will be a group of students, the story guides, and perhaps some character costumes. For this activity, the students will have been read to the stories by the teacher, and they will also have the books available for them to be able to look back and reference. They will have the story guides, which will include the text beginning, next, then, finally, setting, characters, the problem, and the solution, and they will be able to plan out and reenact the story. For Author's Corner, this is the writing section of the center, and the tics behind this language arts and reading activity is to plan a first draft by generating ideas for writing. For example, drawing, sharing ideas, or listing key ideas. Develop drafts by sequencing ideas through writing sentences. Revising drafts by adding or removing a word, phrase, or sentence. Editing drafts for grammar, punctuation, and spelling using teacher-developed rubrics. And publishing and sharing their writing with others, as well as writing brief stories that include a beginning, middle, and end, and writing short poems that convey sensory details. The materials for this activity are handwriting paper, pencil, and crayons. The student will be able to come up with their own topic on what they want to write, and make a rough draft of their book or story, then carry on with the pictures or drawings, and make a final draft. At the end, the author will be able to sit in the author's chair and share their story with the rest of the class. These are some examples of books that will be found in the Reading and Writing Center for the writing activity. A perfect example for this activity would be Library Mouse, which tells the classroom, the students, how they can be authors. This story is a great encouragement for the students to see that they are able to write their own stories and be authors themselves. These are examples of activities that the students will make throughout the year in the Social Studies center of the classroom. The books that will be found in this center are examples like Being a Good Citizen, The Story of Martin Luther King Jr., Children Around the World, and What Are Goods and Services. The activity that I plan for social studies, the tics behind it is to distinguish among past, present, and future, and also the health education tics, which reads express needs, wants, and emotions in appropriate ways. The materials for this activity are construction paper of various colors, manila paper, pencils, crayons, and pre-cut handwriting paper with that already have the words yesterday I felt, today I feel, and tomorrow I will feel. For this activity, the student will recall how they felt the day before, will distinguish how they feel today, and they will make sort of a guess of how they will feel the next day. And this way we will be touching on past, present, and future, and they will write down their emotions on how they were feeling the day before, how they are feeling on the current day, and how they think they will feel the following day.